Breaking news: Joe Ajero and his gangs are supporters of Peter Obi, says Reno Omokri. Chai, my country people, this Reno sef. So according to Reno, the NLC and the TUC are using this nationwide strike to fight a proxy war for Peter Obi, because this 494,000 naira being proposed by the labor union is quite huge. I mean, it's too much. The government cannot afford such amount of money. It would drag Nigeria backwards. I mean, this country, we are not productive enough. So how come do we generate this kind of money? Our productivity is way more lesser than our problems. Our problems, we have bigger problems in this country than our productivity level. So it won't cover up. So according to Reno, the amount being proposed by the NLC would lead this country to bankruptcy. According to him, if producers of goods and services like Dangote, the Nastil and Glow and other petrol stations have to pay their staff a minimum of 494,000, what do you think they will charge for their products? So it's as if the Nigerian workers will be jumping from frying pan to fire. And worse still, he added that Joe Ajero, his gangs of the TUC members and all of that, they are not economists. And worse still, they are major supporters of Peter Obi. Now, my country people, Reno Omokri's statement, isn't always complete without him adding Obi. We know that his continuous attacks on Peter Obi's personality, personality, I beg your pardon, is quite worrisome. It's quite worrisome because at times I wonder what Peter Obi has really committed, what's the offense of Peter Obi that would warrant such talks from Reno Omokri. But then we tend to note that his talks is just a mere word to drag, attention to himself, as he tends to gain more attention by talking about Peter Obi. The recent tweet of Reno Omokri linking Peter Obi to the ongoing strike by the organized labor and the TUC is quite shameful. It's quite shameful and it lacks sense of direction, because Peter Obi is not, in fact, doesn't hold any public office. He's more like a private citizen and has contributed highly towards the betterment of Nigeria and Nigerians. So Mr. Reno Omokri should hold his peace. He is more like a clout chaser, always using Peter Obi to drive traffic on his handle. We know that. Now let's go back to what Reno has said this past few days concerning the NLC's proposal. In his own option, the federal government should increase their offer from 60,000 to at least 75,000 naira. Yes, from 60,000 to 75k, because it would be better. It would be better for the Nigerian workers, and also the Nigerian government. They can see to it and they can stick to it. And the 75,000 should not be fixed. At least they can adjust it every two years in the account of inflation, because we know that the way the inflation is going on, it's not stagnant. It's a skyrocketing inflation that we are experiencing in this country. Even before we get to the end of this year, the inflation rate will be far more higher than what we are seeing now. So the NLC should reconsider this opinion. According to Reno, he has stated this. So at this point, everything is at the hands of the federal government to either listen to the cries of the Nigerian workers through the labor unions, the NLC and the TUC. They are fighting for the rights of the Nigerian workers, the welfare of the Nigerian workers. This should be like, it's no longer a minimum wage. It should be something that, it should be a living wage, not just a minimum wage. It should be a living wage, because a chart has been presented whereby we've seen how the prices of goods and everything, it's on a high side, and the proposed minimum wage by the federal government would not amount to anything. It won't amount to anything. But then the NLC, the labor union, are proposing 494k. Well, I must say it's on a high side. I know the government wouldn't even consider such huge amounts of money, but the NLC has given room to the federal government for negotiations. At least they can come to a normal or an equal level playing ground where they can reach an agreement that would be okay for both the Nigerian workers and also the federal government. I can see from Rino Omokri's end and point of view when he said other companies like Dangote cannot pay their workers, such huge amount of money. It would definitely lead to a high inflation. I know for sure that it would, but I must say 60,000 naira as the minimum wage in this country for the Nigerian workers, it is not, good at all. I am telling you, it's not good. The labor union are just fighting for, what they feel would be best for the Nigerian workers. But for Reno to always drag Peter Obi in his talks by merging this strike action by the NLC to Peter Obi is quite unfortunate. I mean, it's quite unfortunate, but sometimes I always notice how Peter Obi tends to ignore everything Reno has been saying about him. I've never seen Peter Obi in any way, come out to reply Reno Omokri's stance or Reno Omokri's attacks against him. I really don't know what Peter Obi has done to Reno Omokri to warrant such comments from this man. And as for the NLC, I really hope they know what they are doing, because Nigeria is being faced with a lot of challenges, and we wouldn't want to escalate, the current situation in this country. As they have halted the strike for now, they partially signed an agreement with the federal government. They would seek to, resume negotiation with the federal government. So for now, they've halted the strike action until the federal government comes to a reasonable, understanding with them. Then we can know our next moves. But for now, my fingers are crossed. The Nigerian workers are watching the NLC and the TUC. I really hope that they come up with something tangible, because their strike action, these continuous strike actions, would do no good to our economy, as continuous strike actions, reduces our economic activity, and it leads to less productivity, and we wouldn't want that in this country. I'm dropping here, guys. Kindly share your thoughts on this in the comments section. Thank you.